trying to test it. It's more and more in demand.
Oh,
We're trying to keep multimedia paid, ubiquitous coverage, and, you know,
oh, yeah.
everybody wants wireless.
Yeah, everybody, yeah.
The hardest devices on the wireless network are like your wireless Xbox.
Oh, really?
Gaming is very demanding because of the high performance graphics.
Oh, always in my life. I just I get so anxious.
You can only hold your breath for so long. What did I do?
What'd you do?
What'd you do?
Okay.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. This is the regular meeting of the DeKalb City Council, August 28, 2017. City Clerk Susanna Herman, roll call, please.
Jacobson,
Yeah, here.
Fanouken,
Here.
Marquardt,
Here.
Fagan,
Here.
Noriko,
Here.
Verbeck,
Here.
Favor,
Here.
Smith,
Here.
8 present.
Our police officer on duty tonight is Kelly Sullivan. Kelly, if you'd come forward and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Kelly. It's been a disastrous several days for the state of Texas, especially for those folks living in the Houston area. If we may, let's just have a moment of silence for those who have lost their lives, those who have suffered so much, those who continue to suffer. Thank you. I, along with thousands of other mayors across this great country, received an email today from Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner, who indicated that community foundations across this country, I'm sure including our own, the DeKalb County Community Foundation, will be acting along with United Ways to assist folks on a local basis to help those in Houston. Mayor Turner did indicate that if anyone wants to make a direct gift for that relief, you might go to GHCF.org. That stands for Greater Houston Community Foundation.org. Thank you. I'd like to know if there are any additions or deletions to the agenda. I'd ask for a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the agenda. Roll call, please.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Fanouken,
Yes.
Marquardt,
Yes.
Fagan,
Yes.
Noriko,
Yes.
Verbeck,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes,
8 yes.
so moved. There are no public hearings on the agenda for this evening. Under special items, there are no Proudly DeKalb items on the agenda. I have 2 proclamations. The first one, I, Jerry Smith, Mayor of the City of DeKalb, Illinois, do hereby proclaim the week of September 4 through September 8, 2017 as National Payroll Week in the City of DeKalb. There's no one present to accept this proclamation. We will make sure that that is sent to the appropriate party. Our second proclamation this evening, for National Suicide Prevention Month, September 2017. I, Jerry Smith, Mayor of the City of DeKalb, Illinois, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2017 as National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month throughout the City of DeKalb. Again, no one from that organization is present to accept the proclamation, which I signed this morning. We will give that proclamation and make sure that gets into the hands of that organization's representative. We do have a special presentation tonight. I'd like to ask YMCA CEO Mark Spiegelhoff to please come to the podium. And this is the presentation for the YMCA Child Care Programs on behalf of the Kishwaukee Family YMCA. Hello, Mark.
Hello, Mr. Mayor, City Council members, key city staff. It's good to be with you tonight. Thank you for allowing the YMCA a few brief minutes to share how our organization makes a positive difference in the lives of DeKalb area residents. The YMCA opened its doors back in 1958 right here in DeKalb. And there may be a couple things you're not aware of looking back. The YMCA was officially chartered as the DeKalb Family YMCA at that time. And its first location was at 149 North 3rd Street, not far from the City Council chambers. So although many things have changed over the last 59 years since the Y first opens its doors, our roots still remain deep in the city of DeKalb. The YMCA is an inclusive organization that strives to meet community needs. One of those needs that emerged in recent years is the need for high-quality, affordable childcare for working families in our area. So as usual, the YMCA said, what can we do to meet this community need? And it eventually led to the YMCA offering after-school childcare to DeKalb area district families. Now I'd like to turn the podium over to Leslie Pepperman, who serves as our YMCA Youth Development Director, and she's going to give you some background and highlights on this program area.
Well, we're excited to tell you a little bit more about our before and after school program. So a brief history. Our after school program actually started on site at the Y. We were able to serve, a few students who got dropped off by the busing system in the district. And then we started partnering with specific elementary schools. So we started with Cortland Elementary School. The next year we added Brooks Elementary School. And then from 2010 to 2013, Brooks and Cortland were the two schools that we were serving. Other principals kind of got wind of this and said, hey, I want this for my students. So in 2013, we added Jefferson and started working with Founders Elementary School. And then in 2014, we talked to the superintendent of schools and we went district-wide. So all elementary schools had a after-school program in their building hosted by the YMCA. In 2006, so last academic year, we actually added a before-school program. So same scenario, all 8 elementary schools had before school program in their buildings right before the start of the day, beginning at 7 a.m. Over the years, our program has grown quite a bit. So you can see when we first started in 2010, 2011, we were at one school, we served 8 students. It was great. Then we kept growing. When we went district-wide, we were serving 51 students right off the bat. Past academic year, we served an average of 120 students in the district each month. And this year, 4 days into school, we're already at that 120 student mark with calls and referrals coming in every day. So it's been a great partnership with the Y and the district and all of the principals. We're able to reach out to students who need somewhere safe to be before and after school. A little bit about the students that we serve. So we're in the elementary school, so we do serve K through 5, and we have a variety of ages at each different school. 50% of our after-school participants are able to be a part of our program through some sort of financial assistance. So whether that's 4C, Community Coordinated Child Care, we walk our families through that process to get approved through 4C, or through a YMCA Youth Development Scholarship. We want to make sure that no student gets turned away from this program and they have somewhere safe to go. This is a picture of our daily lesson plan, our daily activities. Every day we make sure our students get their homework done. It's complete, it's been checked, it's done right, it's ready to be turned in the morning. We provide a healthy afternoon snack catered through the Northern Illinois Food Bank. It's a full meal, so our kids are not going home and being hungry and waiting for their next meal. We do a physical activity every day, an educational activity every day, typically rotating between reading, science, and math, and then a special activity, so where we get creative and play kickball and make oobleck and do all sorts of fun things. Pictures say a lot more than words, so here's a few pictures from our past after-school sites. We did some water balloons, we do a lot of painting and crafts. If you have questions, we have like 15 seconds, so we can certainly take one. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are the hours?
Yeah, so before school runs from 7 to 8:15. 8:15 is when students join either breakfast or their recess, their morning recess, and then our after-school program runs 3:30 to 5:30, including early release days where we start at noon. So the district has at least one early release day every month, which has been very difficult for working families. So we solved that problem by just offering the program during those days as well.
Great, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie, and thank you, Mark. Appreciate your comments.
Thank you.
Moving along on tonight's agenda, we have the consent agenda. For the benefit of those watching and for those of in our audience, the consent agenda, all items listed on the consent agenda are enacted in one motion. There is not separate discussion on these items unless requested by a council member, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda. The consent, yes, Kate?
I don't want to remove an item. I just want to note that I requested that the city clerk correct minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting of July 24th when there was discussion on the Annie Glidden North program. I was quoted as indicating that the AGN project to be acknowledged as a detrimental project to the success of DeKalb as a whole. It should have been as a critical project to the success of DeKalb as a whole, and that correction has been made. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to read each of the members, or the items on the consent agenda. Number 1, approval of city council minutes. A, minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting of July 24, 2017. B, minutes of the regular city council meeting of July 24, 2017. C, minutes of the special Committee of the Whole meeting of July 25, 2017. Receive and file accounts payable and payroll through August 28, 2017 in the amount of $2,491,157.65. Item B under receive and file, year-to-date revenues and expenditures for the general fund and water fund through June 2017. Item C, 2017 Human Services Funding Second Quarter Report. Number 3, Resolution 2017-103, authorizing the execution of the Airport Improvement Program Sponsor Certification Questionnaire from the Illinois Department of Transportation, Division of Aeronautics for the taxiway. Rehabilitate T-hangar pavements, airport entrance road, and auto parking lot project at the DeKalb-Taylor Municipal Airport. Those are the items on tonight's consent agenda. I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Been moved by Alderman Noriko. Second. Second by Alderman Fagan. Roll call, please.
Fanouken?
Yes.
Markwart?
Yes.
Fagan?
Yes.
Noriko?
Yes.
Verbeck?
Yes.
Favor?
Yes.
Jacobson?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
8 yes.
It's been called to my attention by Eagle Eye Patrick Fagan, or who was that over here? Somebody. that I, did Bill catch that again?
No, Mike did this.
Oh, Mike did, okay. That I skipped over a couple of items on the agenda tonight. The approval of the mayor's appointments, there are none this evening. And item number 4, public participation. If anyone has something to say on an item not listed on the agenda for tonight. Anyone? Okay. Thank you for bringing that to my attention, Mike. I appreciate that. Okay, moving along in the agenda. Item G, items for separate action. Number 1, ordinance 2017-037, authorizing the purchase and equipping of 1 police vehicle based on the state bid contract pricing in an amount not to exceed $40,000 plus supplemental costs, and amending the FY 2017 budget in the amount of $40,000. We're asking for passage of first reading and waiver of second reading. I'd like to call Police Chief Gene Lowry to make some comments on this. Gene?
Like a motion, Mayor?
Oh, yes, I need a motion first.
So moved.
Been moved?
Second.
Been moved and seconded? Okay, now, Police Chief Lowry.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is coming to your attention tonight, not as a result of a vehicle that was worn out and aged. This was a vehicle that was purchased in March and put in service shortly thereafter. Unfortunately, during normal patrol operations, a police officer was driving the vehicle, went through an intersection where he had the green light, and a violator went through the light on a red and struck the vehicle, totaling it out. Fortunately, there were no significant injuries. However, that officer has been off duty ever since the accident due to injuries sustained in the accident. And we're hoping for his good recovery as a result of that traffic accident. So we're coming to you tonight in regard to the replacement of that vehicle as laid out in the agenda memo based on the insurance claim concerning it and the liability fund thereafter on the city's portion. At this point in time, we're in a position where if we have gained the cooperation of Manning Ford, one of their agents has set up for us that has located a replacement vehicle that we could have by Wednesday of this week, which is remarkable. Otherwise, we might not see a vehicle for 90 or more days. So if we act on this, approving this situation tonight, we'll have the ability to recover a new vehicle and hopefully within a matter of a week or two, get the vehicle back on the street, equipped and ready.
Thank you, Gene. Any further discussion or any questions of the chief on this ordinance?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, Alderman Fanouken.
if I may, I actually do have a couple of questions. Gene, or Dean, I noticed in the backup that it mentioned that we have not been able to recover any of the extra costs for graphics or other equipment that was damaged in that. Are we going to be continuing to seek that out rather than the city being forced to absorb that?
Yes, and I apologize if that was unclear. We have currently received funding for the total amount of costs that we have incurred to date, and the violator that the chief referenced that ran the red light had a $20,000 insurance policy. We have, however, proceeded on our underinsured motorist coverage that the city has under our line of automobile insurance, and that's been covering the additional costs. So that's how we have the $29,000 that we've amassed thus far. Once we know what the final total is, that will be submitted for reimbursement, again, through our insurance.
All right, thank you. And then just a follow-up question, the injury claim arising out of the injuries to the officer that obviously he's not back on duty, is that going to fall under our insurance since it was an uninsured motorist, or?
Again, that would fall under the medical coverage for our underinsured motorist coverage. There's not a deductible applicable to that because of the nature of the claim, and we would be looking to pursue, again, recovery of that through the insurance.
Okay, and then that would also, they'll go on into any workers' comp claim in the long run too, correct?
Yes, and we are coordinating the approach between those, between workers' comp and between our underinsured motorist coverage.
Thank you,
That's
sir.
not an uncommon thing to have when an employee is injured in a workplace vehicle accident, to have that kind of coordination occur, so we're working through that.
Thank you.
Any further discussion or questions of the chief? If not, I understand the motion was to pass this on the first reading with waiver of second reading. Can we do that in one motion?
We certainly can, although I don't think that the motion was necessarily stated quite that
Okay.
clearly.
Okay, let's pass this in, let's ask for a roll call vote on the original motion, and this is to pass this on first reading. Roll call, please.
Markwart,
Yes.
Fagan,
Yes.
Noriko,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Fanouken,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
8 yes.
I would now entertain a motion to waive second reading on this ordinance.
So moved.
It's been moved,
Second.
been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Fagan,
Yes.
Noriko,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Fanouken,
Yes.
Markwart,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
8 yes.
Item number 2.
Thank you, Council.
Yes, thank you, Gene, appreciate it. Let's hope we get that Wednesday, huh? That's great. That's quick. Item number 2, ordinance 2017-038, amending Chapter 51, Traffic, Schedule C, Parking Prohibited as it pertains to Macomb Drive parking restrictions. This will be the first reading of this ordinance, and to explain it, our Public Works Director, Tim Holdeman. Tim?
Thank you, Mayor, members of the council. Coming before you tonight, asking for the approval of this ordinance. This is virtually the same ordinance that was approved in the June 12th council meeting, concerned with the no parking along Macomb Drive. There was some discrepancies between what the engineer was proposing and what the field operations staff recommended once they got out and took a look at the site, including the site stopping distances. And so there's been some modifications in the ordinance, primarily on the distances. For example, on the west access point of Target, instead of 230 feet to 390 feet, it's 260 to 384 feet. So it's just a tweaking of the numbers to make sure that the ordinance is correct. So in case we do have a violation, that the city attorney has the ordinance and it's properly signed in the field, so that we can effect that ticket. And so we would also ask for waiver of second reading, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tim. Any further discussion or questions of Tim? I had falsely assumed that anybody who was going to speak to any of our items tonight would have filled out a form. We did not have any forms. However, as we move along the agenda, if there are any items, I would welcome any public participation. If not, I would entertain a motion to approve this ordinance.
I'd like to make that motion and wait a second.
Okay. It's been moved to move forward and waive the second reading, right? I need a second on that.
Second.
It's been seconded. Roll call, please.
Noriko,
Yes.
Verbic,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Fanouken,
Yes.
Markwart,
Yes.
Fagan,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Tim. Alderman Markwart.
We need to do a second motion and vote, correct?
Alderman Fagan's motion in that instance was to approve the ordinance and waive second reading and pass. So he made one motion that accomplished all of those objectives. So
Okay.
that was a final motion.
I guess we can do that, but it's probably out of the ordinary, and I would follow your advice in the future, Dean, that we vote on it first reading, and then if we have a request for waiver of second reading, we would do a separate motion and second on that.
So To your point, Mayor, it is whatever way the council wishes to address it, as long as the original motion is clear. So the motion we had earlier was just a motion to approve and didn't have the waiver. Alderman Fagan made a very clear motion both to approve and waive second reading. So it's the distinction in however you as council choose to make the motions.
Thank you. Item number 3, Resolution 2017-103, awarding a bid to Brent Excavating in the amount of $428,370.17 for the replacement of 1,130 feet of water main on South 6th Street, with staff authority to approve change orders up to $443,363. I'd entertain a motion to approve this resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, our utility superintendent, Brian Favor, is going to address this. Hi, Brian.
Thank you, Mayor. Approval of this resolution would allow for the replacement of a 62-year-old water main along South 6th Street between Tyler and Culver. This project, if you recall, was originally bid as part of a larger project that included East Sunset, Lewis Street, South 11th Street, and Maplewood Avenue. However, it was more advantageous to separate out the South 6th Street water main replacement from the other projects to take advantage of a community development block grant that was available in the amount of $197,000. The bid specifications for CDBG project are different than a normal bid, and so that project had to be rebid as a standalone project. We received 5 bids, with the low bid being from Brant Excavating in the amount of $428,370.17. Funding for the project would come from 3 sources. As I mentioned, the CDBG in the amount of $197,000. $100,000 would be MFT, and the remaining $131,000 would be from the Water Maintenance Capital Fund. This would be the last remaining project, water main replacement project that we had scheduled as part of the 2017 budget. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Are there any questions or discussion regarding this of Brian? Any discussion from the audience? If not, roll call, please.
Verbic,
Yes.
Favor,
Yes.
Jacobson,
Yes.
Yes.
Fanouken, Markwart,
Yes.
Fagan,
Yes.
Noriko,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, Mayor.
Moving right along, item number 4, Resolution 2017-104, authorizing an extension of the agreement for services with SRF Consulting Group, Inc. for the development of the DeKalb Region Transit Development Plan through October 30th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Our Transportation Director, Brian Dixon, is going to address this item. Brian? Hi.
Yes, we have had a contract with SRF Consulting to perform our DSAT's transit development plan, and the work is nearly completed. We're currently in public comment on the document, and we are planning to hold a number of public outreach activities in September. Our contract with SRF expires on August 31st, and we wish to have them assist staff in doing those public outreach activities in September. Therefore, we are asking for an extension of the contract to allow them to assist staff in running those outreach and then developing the report from those outreach activities.
Okay. Alderman Noriko.
It's my understanding that this will not involve any additional cost, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Any discussion from the audience? Roll call, please.
Favor?
Yes.
Jacobson?
Yes.
Fanouken?
Yes.
Markwart?
Yes.
Fagan?
Yes.
Noriko?
Yes.
Verbeck?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
8 yes.
Brian, I'm going to stay right there. Item number 5, Resolution 2017-105, approving the DeKalb Sycamore Area Transportation Study and DeKalb Public Transit budgets for the Illinois Department of Transportation State Fiscal Year 2018 from July 1, 2017 to June 30th, 2018, and administered in the City of DeKalb Special Transportation Fund Budget 09.
So moved.
Been moved?
Second.
Second? And I'm going to ask our Transportation Director and Planner, Brian Dixon, to address this item, please.
Yes, each year, we develop our DSATS budget, which is a special budget fund, Special Fund 9, Division 10, for our DSATS budget, which is the operating cost for staff and office expenses and special projects that the DSATS MPO performs. And then we also administer the public transit operating assistance and capital funding for public transit in the DeKalb region, and those are different grant sources that we receive specifically for public transit. And both of those grants we receive from the state of Illinois and the Federal Transit Administration. And we operate on the state fiscal year, which is July 1st to June 30th. So since the city's fiscal year has changed, we're now 6 months different than the city of DeKalb's fiscal year. So we have just begun our state fiscal year 18 budget, which has been approved by the DSATS Policy Committee for both the DSATS budget and the public transit budget. And we are just bringing this to the City Council to approve this interim budget that, to cover us through June 30th, 2018. And this will include the second half of the city's FY17 budget and the first half of the city's FY18 budget. So, and we are just looking to approve this budget for DSATs and our public transit grants.
Any further discussion? Any discussion from the audience? Roll call.
Jacobson?
Yes.
Fanouken?
Yes.
Markwart?
Yes.
Fagan?
Yes.
Noriko?
Yes.
Verbeck?
Yes.
Favor?
Yes.
Smith?
Yes.
8 yes.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Moving along, item number H, new and unfinished business. I believe there is no new business. We move along to communications. I'm asking each of the council members if they have anything to report or communicate, and I'm going to start with our first ward alderman, Dave Jacobson.
As of this afternoon, Bill and I have finalized our ward meeting that's coming up next month in September. It is September 10th at 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock p.m. at the St. Paul's Episcopal Church on Normal Road. It will be in their fellowship hall. All are welcome to attend. Of course, we'd love to see lots of first and second ward residents, but are certain there will be some other members of the community that will come bringing questions about the England North project and some of the other things going on up in the Greek Road neighborhood. All are welcome. It will be a open and free-flowing public discussion, and we look forward to seeing you there.
Look forward to it. Thank you, Dave. Anything else?
That's it today.
Alderman Fanouken, Second Ward.
Well, I'll let Dave speak for both of us on the ward meeting, but I want to do a couple of things here. I want to congratulate and say well done to Cornfest for this past weekend. The committee did a great job as usual. I want to welcome back our NIU students, with approximately 3,400 moving in the residence halls. We look forward to them having a great academic year here in DeKalb. And then, of course, you may have noticed I'm wearing my black NIU polo. This Friday night is a home opener, and they're encouraging everybody to wear black for a blackout game against Boston College. Kickoff is at 8:32.
Thank you, Bill.
Yep.
You have the precise timing.
Well, I have to remember, I'm the one who starts the pregame clock.
Third Ward, Alderman Markwart.
Just echo the sentiments about Cornfest. It was a wonderful time, and I appreciate all the hard work that this Cornfest committee does, Park District, and also city staff, putting in extra hours for cleanup and watching people as they enjoy themselves. So I appreciate all that work. Thanks.
Thank you. Alderman Fagan, Fourth Ward.
Unfortunately, 2 weeks ago, we had to use city services, but I do want to reach out and say thank you to dispatch and paramedics helping out my family. I really, really did appreciate it. They were very professional. Got there very quick. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Alderman Enrico.
Last Saturday, the 19th, I attended the DeKalb Cleanup Day organized by our city clerk, Sue Herman. Probably about 20 people there, give or take. There would be a lot less garbage in DeKalb if people didn't smoke and throw their cigarette butts out. I'm not, casting, but, truly, and, ran across a couple of residents who, thanked us for coming out and so forth, and thank you to Sue for organizing this.
You're welcome.
Alderman Verbeek.
Thank you. I'd like to congratulate the DeKalb School District to a wonderful new start to the school year. It's great to see all the activity in the school district. Along with that came DeKalb Barbs football road win to start the season. And the DeKalb Barbs will also be home Friday night. Please pack the house out on Dresser Road for DeKalb football. Also in the 6th Ward, we had an opening of a very cool new restaurant, Sonic. Already been in the news widely, but it's great to see all the activity in and out of Sonic in the 6th Ward.
Thank you, Mike. Alderman Favor, Tony?
Yeah, I want to express the same thanks to the Cornfest organizers and all those that came and attended. I went down on Saturday, and I couldn't find a parking spot. I actually had to pay for parking, but I was one car away from getting a free spot. But
You'll never forget it.
But the other thing I wanted to mention, last meeting, I announced a fundraiser for Plays for Camp Power. Tonight, I'd like to call for any volunteers who would like to help out at the event on September 30th. We could use your help, and if you need any more information, just give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. I have several items I'd like to address tonight. If you recall, 2 weeks ago, on the 14th of August, the City Council approved the revitalization plan for Annie Glidden North area. At that point, I announced a mayoral community improvement task force, and I had urged our city council and our city boards and commissioners and commissions to suggest names for the makeup of that task force. Thus far, I've received about 21 or 22 names, really good ones. I would encourage the public, which has also provided names to me from individuals and organizations, to do that. The lay of the land looks pretty much like this. I would hope that by the end of this week, we will continue to get more names. On a week from tomorrow, on the 5th of September, I will be meeting with, and along with staff, with Camaros, which is the firm that is going to sort of help us steer the way in that revitalization plan, to get their idea, to make sure that the makeup, if you will, of that task force sort of aligns with what they've been thinking. I would hope then that by the end of the week, September 8th, that we would have the task force finalized, and so that I could announce that task force 2 weeks from tonight on the 11th of September. So that's sort of a lay of the land, the kind of thing on the Annie Glidden North Revitalization Task Force. It was announced earlier tonight about the activities at the airport and some of the things that we're doing out there. I took part in a strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat, the SWOT exercise, as part and parcel of their strategic plan. We worked with the advisor and the consultant for the airport, Jack Penning, really an interesting guy, knows airports backwards and forwards. Bob Owens is our chair of that commission, and really appreciated being asked to get involved in that. And we've got some exciting things, I think, on the horizon at the airport. Again, I want to congratulate those who were involved in the move-in and on Cornfest. I know Anne Marie is going to say a few words about the overall Cornfest experience on behalf of the city. And finally, Beth Campen handed me this tonight, that out of the beloved community dinner, the last one, it has been announced that there will be a candlelight no hate vigil this Thursday evening, August 31, from 7:30 to 8:30 on the northeast corner of First and Lincoln Highway. So stay tuned for that. My final comments, although the others have not been serious, this one is. Several meetings ago, this newly elected mayor made a public pronouncement that he would defend the right of all to speak out at city council meetings and on matters relating to the city of DeKalb. I will continue to live up to that stance. However, what has occurred a few times, most notably during public comment on the Freedom of Information issue at our last council meeting, prompted me to have serious introspection. It was obvious at our August 14 meeting that our FOIA officer was the brunt of several very personal, very critical remarks. And during these remarks, I did nothing that was wrong. In allowing those personal remarks to be made without any attempt to halt them or comment about their inappropriateness, I sent the wrong message to many folks, especially to our staff. While I feel very strongly about allowing all of our citizens to speak their mind, I also realize that public meetings like this are not the venue during which personal criticism of anyone, regardless of who they are, should be tolerated. Simply stated, if someone has a problem with a neighbor, a city employee, or anyone else, a face-to-face resolution is usually the best. If it's a city staffer about whom you have a complaint, you should feel free to discuss it with him or her directly. If that doesn't work, reach out to their supervisor or department head. That would be appropriate. Finally, if you still feel the problem hasn't been resolved, call the mayor. Because folks, the buck truly does stop here. Finally, in the future, I will continue to be very tolerant before using this gavel. However, if I feel personal attacks are being made, I will not hesitate to use this. Thank you. Moving along, staff comments. Susanna Herman.
Thank you. I did just want to say thank you to everybody in the community, excuse me, and Alderwoman Noreko also for showing up to my Clean Up DeKalb Day last week. We ended up collecting, we estimated between how many bags, from how many bags that we purchased to how many we had left, that we filled about 60 to 65 13-gallon trash bags with garbage and disposed of them. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sue. Dean?
No report this evening, Mayor.
Anne Marie?
Thank you, Mayor. A couple items. First of all, I do want to comment on Corn Fest. From the city's perspective, after talking with the chiefs, it seems like it was a very seamless operation over the weekend. I'm going to ask that the chiefs can elaborate from their particular perspective on police and fire. I will say, in a conversation with Lisa Angel, Corn Fest coordinator, her comment was that she thought that was the biggest Friday that they've seen in recent memory. So it was, I think, a combination of the headliner Friday night as well as the incredibly mild weather that we've had the last couple of days. And outside of the rain that we had early yesterday morning, it was great weather. So great attendance, very minimal issues with the crowd that were there. I do want to personally thank the police, fire, and public works departments for all the hours that they put in before the event, prepping with the Corn Fest committee, as well as at the event. And the event couldn't run as seamless as it did if it weren't for the dedication of all of our police officers, our firefighters, and our public works maintenance employees. So I just want to personally thank them. It was also a busy weekend, since this was a double whammy of having Corn Fest and Move-In Weekend the same. I had the privilege of Friday night, in addition to the mayor and our economic development planner, Jason Mitchnick, participating in the NIU Husky Welcome event at Husky Stadium, where the parents and the students were welcomed in. And they formed, you might have seen this on social media, the students formed NIU on the field. And just talking to some of the parents and seeing the reaction as they were coming in, you could see how comforting it was for them to have that personal welcome of different community members that were there to greet them. So that was a really neat event to be involved in. On Sunday, not only did I, but we had Lauren Stott, who was officially past her last day of employment, and Ray Munch, who you met tonight, one of our management interns, participate in what's called the Involvement Fair at NIU. This was at the NIU Home Student Center, and the Involvement Fair is really a chance for the students to be able to see all the organizations that are available for students to join. And so Lauren and Ray were there passing out this booklet, which I'm sure Joellen Charlton's going to talk about when we go down the line. We were there, this was an outgrowth of one of my monthly meetings with the students to understand what the Involvement Fair is, to see whether the city should participate next year. And I think if there's a participation, it's going to be kind of the same, walking the floor and distributing information. So we'll also work with NIU next year to get some of this information in advance to the packets as the new students move in. So busy weekend, but it was a great weekend, a great opportunity to be involved with NIU. Thank you.
Gene, I understand you're going to make a few comments about the move-in weekend and the Corn Fest.
Yes, Mayor and Council, thank you for the opportunity. Real briefly, I want to say that my time here, the events of this weekend were probably some of the smoothest interdepartmental and interagency cooperation at the highest levels I've ever seen. There was a lot of pre-planning, pre-event planning, and Chief Hicks really led the charge on that. But at the end of the day, I was very pleased that the amount of activity and the types of activity that we traditionally experience were not experienced this time. We did have one bad incident where we had a robbery downtown post closing of the Corn Fest festivities, unrelated to the fest itself. But all in all, very positive, very few incidents of any consequence. The incidents that I saw, and I was out both nights, reflected typical partying type incidents without the level of violence that we've seen in the past. So it was very good.
Great, thanks, Gene. Our Fire Chief, Eric Hicks.
Just want to echo the chief's and city manager's comments. There was a lot of time in preparation for this event between NIU and the city of DeKalb. We had all events tracked, and we had a good handle on what was going on throughout the city. We also were very busy, but nothing we could not handle, and the system was not overtaxed. So we had a very good weekend and both good nights.
Thanks. Appreciate both of your departments. Great job over the weekend. Joellen Charlton, our Community Development Director.
Thank you. As Anne Marie indicated, we did hand out, the city staff did hand out the DeKalb Foodie Guide to many of our new students coming into the university. This guide, which was presented to everyone at the dais and many of the members of the audience, and if you didn't get one, please let me know. I can make sure you get one. One of the things we heard last year when we met with the students and provided them with a tour through the community is how really limited their knowledge was on many businesses, and particularly all of the places where they could eat in town. So one thing that we did this year is work with one of our local graphic design firms in the community to put together this brochure that's a very handy size pocket guide geared towards students. So the caption on the front of it reads, "One cannot think well if one has not dined well." And it's a very handy reference and a lot of cute information in there for them to follow and find restaurants that are labeled either distinctively DeKalb or ethnic restaurants, or if they're open late, or if they deliver. So it's a very handy guide, and we're very proud to present it to the students. We'll probably put some in the dorms and other student housing as well. One of the other things I wanted to mention tonight, many of you may recall the mural that used to be located on the west wall of the Autos building. Prior to the demolition of that building, many people in the community had expressed an interest to relocate that to another location in the downtown. But due to the way it was framed and attached to the building, it wasn't really practical for that to be done. It was going to be problematic. The developer did, however, volunteer to pay to have it recreated when the groups decided where it could be relocated to. Many groups got together and decided that the best location for this relocated mural would be on the west wall of the Egyptian Theater building, so it would become visible to First Street. So that's where the new mural is going to be located in the coming weeks. The Enhancement Commission is one of the groups that has been looking at public art even further, so we expect in the coming weeks that they're going to talk about additional opportunities for public murals and other public art to be located in the downtown and in other areas of the community. That's all I have.
Thank you. Tim Holdeman, our Public Works Director.
Thank you, Mayor. Want to give an update on our construction activities around town. Work on 23 continues. Most of the milling of the surface has been completed. The overlay will be following. We also have initiation of construction activities on the Kishwaukee-Kiwanis multi-use bike path, or multi-use path. Contractor is there now removing some of the trees that were cut down earlier, and we'll see activity over the next 2 or 3 months there as we prepare and then construct the path. Also, our street maintenance program continues. We did get all of the overlays completed prior to move-in, which was one of our key milestones of that project, so that was good. Also, our water main replacement program continues. We've installed the water main on Sunset between 1st and 4th. We're currently waiting for a permit so that we can go under 23 and connect with our existing water main, and we will begin on South 11th Street starting tomorrow. Also want to just remind everybody we have our special committee of the whole meeting Thursday night. It starts at 5 o'clock here in Chambers. Thank you, Mayor.
Look forward to that. Thank you.
Sorry.
Chris Randall?
I'll make it easy. No report.
No report from Human Resources. How about our IT Director, Mark Thorson?
No report, Mayor.
I would entertain a motion to adjourn tonight's City Council meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor? Aye. So moved. Meeting adjourned.
Okay.
That makes up for last week.
You just have the years of experience over us, that's all.
Right.
Yeah, really.
I think it's
That's the shortest